One of the biggest things that separate TRITAC from other martial arts or other martial arts concepts, I would say, is the introduction of the TRITAC frames, or the concept of TRITAC frames. And we did not make this up. You can see this in multiple different martial arts. One of the main influences of the TRITAC frames came from Defense Lab shapes, or the Keysi Fighting Method, Pensador concept, but I believe that we've made it a little more realistic. I love both those arts and spent a lot of time in both those arts. The difference is that they tend to really get married to being in a frame or a shape the whole time, where I believe there are times and uses of a frame and we have to be aware of them, but they're not the end all to be all for fighting. So a lot of people look at sometimes as a frame or a shape as this revolutionary idea of how to like fight someone, where it's just a piece of the puzzle, and a very smart piece of the puzzle, but we have to use it strategically and know when to use it. So in this video, our whole idea is to start breaking down the concept of a frame, why we would use it, when it would apply, both offensive, defensive, counter, and the different configurations of frames. We have 6 of them to go through, so let's have some fun breaking down TRITAC frames. I said earlier there are 6 TRITAC frames, and let's start off with frame 1. Quick caveat: if you've been watching these videos at all recently, you notice I had neck surgery about 15 weeks ago now, and I'm not able to get my hands properly in position. That's why I have these 2 studs around me to help me out, showing the awesomeness of TRITAC frames. So let's break down frame 1. And frame 1, and all frames, will start with a basic cover. And I can actually use you real quick for a reference. When we're in a frame, there's like 7 knockout points that we're trying to cover. And this actually came from Andy Norman from Defense Lab's philosophy, and I really like it. If you look down the bottom, we got our temples, our jawline are knockout, the neck mirrored on the other side, and then the back of the head. If Leon, can you give me, just go to your left leg lead for me? And actually, let's turn. What's the there? Okay, perfect. Left leg, and let's get your right hand up as a cover, high guard, nice and tight. So his first guard, don't worry about this one. His first goal is to get this hand nice and tight, so it's covering his brainstem, and then at the elbow is right in front of the nose. Okay, I should go left leg lead again and face the camera. Good. Sorry, but we're getting really up and close and personal. I want to see this elbow is right in front of the nose. More this comes disconnected, then things start falling apart. So our initial structure of a frame is make sure you're covering the back of the neck and then all down the one side, okay? And of course it would be on the other side too if he puts his left hand up, and that same thing, okay? Now the other hand, actually let's just stay fair for now because we'll talk about the haymaker first. So let's say we'll take it from a very self-defense perspective that I or bad guys, we throw in that right hand haymaker, boom. And that would get his initial covering up, back of the stem, temple line, jawline, and then again, elbow in front of nose. The second hand is really what starts dictating what frame configuration you're in. Frame 1 is an overhand approach. So he'll take his nice tight configuration, then his right hand or rear hands will come over on the top and hang out right around this line. And what we're looking for is this very, very tight, almost like a football helmet for his head. And that's one of the key things that this is, and from a defensive standpoint, Leon is trying to cover as much surface area as possible, knowing that most people in some sort of street fight or no rules fight are headhunters. Fuck, most people are headhunters. It takes a lot of work and effort to try to find body shots. Even then, the best body shot guys in the world are put a bunch of headshots in there first before they rip to the body, okay? So we know that that punch is gonna be coming mostly to the head, and his goal, if I was throwing punches, would be kind of jam me up and then chain into something else. Framing is meant to be like a close range tool when we're in like this chaos zone where we can both put our hands on each other, and offensive or defensive. But we're to start off with the defense because that's kind of where it started, and then it starts growing from offense. So can you go back that really quick? When he's in a defensive frame, we're trying to close everything down together. I'll break down other frames in a second. But when it comes to offensive, things get a little opener. That when you're throwing it, it's almost like you're throwing an elbow strike and then into a frame 1, where if I was gonna throw, like, say, can you come right here, please? Actually, switch you. If I was to throw like a left ascending elbow to Leon, bam, right? That is essentially the path of my frame. And then I would just mirror it and connect my hand on the other side. Like I said, I can't really get tight in this side at all, guys. So you know, I'm throwing that elbow, but you're getting this connection at the end, touching your hands. You do not need to touch your hands. What I like about getting our hands to touch at the end is just making sure my other hand is up and defensive. I watch hundreds of students every single week throw punches, elbows, etc. And one of the biggest things I'm always yelling at, bring your fucking hands up. Why are our hands at our level, our chest level? What are we doing? And now we start throwing elbows, that means I'm in close range combat. My hand's at my chest level, and he's just gonna be nailing me right back, okay? Now let's play with some drills from frame one, and we're gonna use my good buddies, John Lebo and Mike Simon. In fact, these are the guys who taught me most about framing. So this is a special treat for you to learn from the masters on TRITAC Frames, and we'll explore frame one from some defensive drills versus straight punches and wide punches, then also how to use the different aspects of frame one, the diagonal attacks, the direct attacks, as well as frame one in attack in this sequence.
So if he throws a punch at me, I want to turn my body and come into it. So I want to cover up, and I want to cover the front tight, and I want to cover this side. So if this punch is coming, this hand comes here, this one comes across, and I turn into it. All right, so I'm trying to like attack the punch. I'm not just absorbing it. So if he hit me, I'm not just like this and taking the punch. All right, I'm putting my weight into it. So if I'm here and he throws the punches, and I'm trying to attack the punch and then enter in. First drill that we're gonna do is he's gonna throw a punch at me. I'm gonna cover up, and I'm gonna return 2 punches. So the side that I just loaded is gonna be my first punch. All right, so it's gonna be 1, 2. All right, I bring my other hand back. You don't have to bring it all the way back to your head, but don't drop it. I don't want you to come here and then drop your hands and punch from here. So if he throws the punch, I want to come here and I want to go 1, 2. Okay? Come to this side, throws this side.
He steps into a fight stance and goes into diagonal, frame one, in route with the stance. So at the same time he's coming forward, he's making the frame. Into diagonal, back out to fence, into diagonal, back out to the fence, diagonal, back out to the fence, diagonal. And he's gonna go first with rear direct to my body. So I'm gonna put the mitt up, and this is my face, and Mike's gonna go from a conversation stance to a fight stance with direct. So we're having a conversation. Perhaps I went to throw a punch at his head, and him being proactive, he entered and went from this conversation left lead to a fighting stance left lead as he goes into frame one. So Mike is gonna go from a conversation stance into a fighting stance with lead direct elbow. Rear, lead direct. And you go direct, fence, attack, fence, diagonal. Fence, direct, diagonal, attack. Lead, direct, lead, diagonal, lead, in attack.